everybody, Morgan with Event Answer here, and today I'm going to show you how to make this greenery circle. It's made from moss sheets and is super versatile for any kind of event. So let me show you how I made this backdrop. To start this project off, I'm going to cut a 36-inch circle. So I'm just using a scrap piece of wood here that I taped a pin on, and I'm going to put that pin right in the center of my board. And I've measured 18 inches out, which is the radius of my circle. My foam board here is 48 inches by 48 inches. Now, I purchased this from a local art store. If you can't get a hold of a piece of foam board that large, you can always tile a couple pieces together using clear packaging tape because the foam core won't be seen on this project. Using a brand new X-Acto blade, I'm just going to follow the line that I just created and cut out my circle. And try and keep your blade as vertical as possible. You don't want to angle it, but if it's not 100% perfect, it's not an ideal because we're going to be covering everything in moss in just a moment. Once the circle is cut out, I'm going to take two small washers, and the size doesn't really matter, and I'm going to use these as grommets and attach them to the back side of my foam board, and that way when I go to hang this, I won't tear out the foam board with the weight of this. Now I just took my 24-inch ruler at using this to find a center point and mark 2 inches in from the edge. And then I'm going to take my washer and lay it on top of the mark that I just made, and using a piece of clear packaging tape, I'm going to attach it to the back. You could also use some super glue here, but the tape is going to work just fine for this application. Once you get it secured, you'll want to make a hole through the center of the washer, and you can use the X-Acto knife, a pin, a dowel rod, whatever you want. Just make a hole so you can get your monofilament through it when you go to hang it. And now we're ready for the most important part. I'm going to take this moss sheeting, which is 18 inches wide by 40 inches long, and my hot glue gun, and start laying that on top of my foam board. Now, this is a 36-inch circle, and these are 18-inch wide strips, so make sure you line it up completely with the center so you have enough moss to cover the entire width of the circle. And I'm just starting with the inside line, laying down a bead of hot glue near the edge of the moss. It doesn't have to be right on the very edge, but as close as possible helps. If you have any bumps in your moss, mine was folded in half and then rolled, make sure you press those out, put a little glue underneath that bump and then press it flat, and that will help level everything out and make sure you have a nice even surface for this project. Then I'm going to add glue around the edge using the same technique, just putting a bead of glue down, pressing it to make sure it's secure, and making sure everything is flat and level, and just do this all the way around the circle. I repeated this process with a second sheet of moss, and the important thing to remember is to nestle the two pieces together as much as possible. So I've got these butted up right next to each other and trying to blend those edges. So I laid a little bit of glue down, and I'm going to go down the center first and just make sure that I've got those edges blended as much as possible. After the moss is secured to the front side, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to trim off this excess moss. So you can see the paper and all the corners hanging over the edge. Just make sure you've got a really nice sharp pair of scissors for this. And I'm just going to follow the edge of the circle about a ½ inch to an inch away from the edge because I'm going to roll that over and hide the edge of the circle, so make sure you leave enough moss there to accomplish that. With the edges shorter now, I'm going to come back with the hot glue gun and put a bead right on the edge and curl that up over towards the back side and secure the moss in place. Now, some of this may have glued the paper down. If that's the case, you can either glue the paper and then glue the moss, or you can just rip the excess paper off and glue the moss directly to the foam board. So whichever way you decide to go, lay the glue, hold it in place, and then rotate and do this all the way around the edge. While I still have the circle upside down, I'm going to take some heavy gauge monofilament and poke it through the hole I made earlier in the washer. Now I'm using the heavy gauge so that I can poke it through without needing a needle or something, and that way it'll get all the way through the moss as well. Now I'm going to hang mine picture frame style, so I'm just going to cut a long piece and tie both ends. If you do plan to hang this from pipe and drape or something, make sure you have a long enough piece of monofilament so you can hang it at the appropriate height that you'd like. The last step is checking over your piece and seeing if there's any thin spots in the moss. I have a spot here down my center seam that just didn't quite get covered, so I'm going to make a patch out of something we cut off the edge, and I'm going to trim it down to size, pull back all of the little edges that are free, and place my glue right onto the board, put the patch on top, and kind of ruffle the edges so it has a very seamless look, and that's it! The moss board is ready to decorate however would fit your next event. I love how simple and easy this project is, and it's a wonderful base for any kind of backdrop you'd like to make. Do you throw a bridal shower, a baby shower, a surprise party? This can be the base for anything. You could blow up some mylar balloons and say love or baby here. I have some twinkle lights on it. You could do initials or put flowers on one side. The possibilities are endless. This just gives you a great base to work from. I hope you found this inspirational and easy to do. If you decide to do this for your own event, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about how it went and what you think of this project. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos, because we'll be using this in some party setups coming real soon. So check out some other videos and stick around, and I'll see you in a future video. Bye!